Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs a comprehensive high-level meeting to review the situation relating to COVID-19 and vaccinations. The PM says need to be proactive in the light of new variant Omicron. Asked officials to review plans for easing of international travel restrictions in light of the emerging new evidence. Following Prime Minister Modi's announcement to repeal the farm laws, bill to repeal 3 farm laws to be tabled on day 1 of the winter session of Parliament, says Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar. The minister urges farmers to end their agitation. The World Health Organization labels new COVID strain Omicron as variant of concern with possible increased reinfection risk. WHO warns Omicron may spread more quickly than other forms, alerts global authorities. In sports, PV Sindhu puts up a valiant effort but falls short as she goes down 21-15, 9-21, 14-21 against second seed Thailand's Ratchanok Itanon in the semi-finals at the Indonesia Open 2021. And in the Kanpur Test, which is the first of the 2-match Test match series between India and New Zealand, New Zealand are all out for 296. India lead by 49 runs. Akshar Patel takes 5 wickets. Namaskar, over the latest here on News Connect with DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. First up, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a comprehensive meeting and reviewed the public health preparedness and vaccination related situation vis-a-vis COVID-19. The PM was briefed about the global trends on COVID-19 infections and cases. The PM also reviewed the national situation relating to COVID-19 cases and test positivity rates. Prime Minister Modi was apprised of the progress in vaccination and other efforts being made under the Har Ghar Dastak campaign. The PM directed that there is a need to increase the second dose coverage and that states need to be sensitized on the need to ensure that all those who have got the first dose are given the second dose timely. Officials briefed Prime Minister about the new variant of concern, Omicron, along with its characteristics and the impact seen in various countries. Its implications for India were also discussed. The PM spoke about the need to be proactive in light of the new variant. He said that in the light of the new threat, people need to be more cautious and they need to take proper precautions like masking up and social distancing. The PM highlighted the need for monitoring all international arrivals, their testing as per guidelines, with a specific focus on countries identified at risk. The PM also asked officials to review plans for easing of international travel restrictions in light of the emerging new evidence. The PM was given an overview of the sequencing efforts in the country and the variants circulating in the country. He directed that genome sequencing samples be collected from international travelers and community as per norms, tested through the network of labs already established under INSA-COG, and early warning signal identified for COVID-19 management. The PM spoke about the need to increase the sequencing efforts and to make it more broad-based. He also directed officials to work closely with state governments to ensure that there is proper awareness at the state and district levels. He directed that intensive containment and active surveillance should continue in clusters reporting higher cases and require technical support be provided to states which are reporting higher cases presently. The PM also asked that awareness needs to be created about ventilation and airborne behavior of the virus. He instructed officials to coordinate with states to ensure that there is adequate buffer stocks of various medicines, PSA oxygen plants and ventilators. For more on this, we have Arun Sharma, my colleague, who was tracking that meeting very closely when that happened. Arun, just a lot of instructions, a lot of things have been specified in terms of what officials need to do, particularly where this threat of Omicron is concerned. Now, what are the biggest takeaways from this meeting that the PM had?
Well, as far as the big takeaways are concerned, the number one big takeaway is about the international travel primarily, because we know the fact that yesterday Civil Aviation Ministry, issued a circular which said that now gradually, in a calibrated manner, the international travel will open up. But now, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked the officials to review this decision in the backdrop of this Omicron, the new virus primarily, or the new mutation of the virus primarily. So we can expect that some kind of, earlier as we were easing out, now we can expect that the things can be same as it was earlier, and stricter guidelines can be expected as far as the international travel is concerned, which was supposed to open from 15th of December. That's number one. Number two, as we mentioned earlier, that about the healthcare infrastructure, and all of healthcare infrastructure that includes the ICU beds, oxygen plants primarily, specifically in tier 2 town, tier 3 towns. What is the preparedness as far as the healthcare infra is concerned? What more needs to be done? So how can state and of course at the ground level, what more can be ensured so there is no scarcity as far as the healthcare infra is concerned? So on that aspect, this is a big takeaway from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Another big takeaway is about the vaccination coverage aspect, as to all those who have taken the first vaccine dose, because we know this fact that there are certain states like Himachal, Uttarakhand, Goa, some of the northeastern states, they have already achieved the 100% vaccine coverage as far as the first dosage is concerned. But as far as second dosage is concerned, how can we ramp up our capacities, and of course we can ensure that there is, the second dosage can also achieve the 100% vaccination primarily, and how can other states can also follow suit as far as increasing the vaccination coverage. That's another aspect. Now talking about the virus per se. So genome sequencing plays an important role in identifying the character of the viruses, what is the strength of the viruses, what damage can the virus do. So genome sequencing, if in case any kind of a case with respect to the Omicron is detected, so genome sequencing is very much important. That should be done as soon as possible, and proper sequencing should be done. Genome sequencing, and of course the samples should be tested for all the foreign travelers that are coming from the A risk or the high risk category countries primarily. So that is something we are also witnessing now. In fact, in Ahmedabad, we have seen that all the arrivals or people coming from the 14 countries primarily, which are from the high risk category, or testing will be made mandatory for them. This is also happening in some of the cities in Maharashtra as well. So this is what we are witnessing now. So states have been given a free hand primarily to ensure that how can you combat the virus at the lab level primarily by testing, and of course by tracking it. And another important aspect is that how can state and center can come together as far as fight against COVID-19 is concerned, as far as fight against this new mutation is concerned, and proper awareness, proper social distancing, and of course mask, and following all the COVID protocols. This should be ensured, because we know this fact that the number of cases in India are coming down, but we should not lower our guard primarily, because internationally this virus in the form of Omicron is again popping up, and in that context Prime Minister Narendra Modi was also briefed about the character, the pattern, and what are the international trend right now as far as this new mutation is concerned. So Prime Minister was briefed about that also. So yes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired this important meeting. The focus was completely on healthcare infrastructure, reviewing the air travel plan or the international air travel plan. Last but not the least, how can vaccination coverage can be increased, whereby the vaccination coverage is low as of now. Gautam?
Certainly, and we have the door-to-door campaign going on to increase vaccination coverage. But just let's look at this context. Arun, we have a situation where a lot of countries we've seen ever since we got to know about the existence of Omicron, they have virtually stopped all arrivals from these affected countries. There are about almost 10 of them now. India has not done that, because I believe that India wants to see more evidence in terms of how virulent this particular strain or variant is. But at the same time, the PM has said that the plans to go in for full-fledged commercial flights from the 15th of December, those should be reviewed.
Absolutely. So it's the virus that decides the policy of the government, the character of the virus, or the behavior of the virus primarily decides that how the government should act in order to contain or to ensure that stricter or restriction should be there. As of now, we are witnessing that this virus, this new mutation, which is known as Omicron, has been found in Africa, specifically when we talk about Botswana, also in Belgium, part of Europe, and other European countries as well. So yes, there are various countries that are going forward and of course imposing restrictions. As far as India is concerned, there are air bubble agreements as of now with some of the approximately more than a dozen of countries with which there is an air bubble mechanism. From 15th of December, India has taken a decision as of now that primarily the international flight, the scheduled international flight will reopen. But as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that this decision should be reviewed, this means a lot that now India is also looking forward in the direction that if required, stricter restrictions can be put in place. But as of now, there is no mutation of virus that has been found in India. No Omicron virus has been found in India so far. So that's the reason India is on front foot. India is, yes, watchful as of now. But yes, on the other side, India is also ensuring that, there is no, primarily a discomfort to the passengers who are traveling as of now internationally. But yes, as and when, if in case the virus comes in, as far as the Omicron mutation is concerned, government will go ahead and of course is very much likely to take some of the stricter restrictions as far as international travel is concerned. So this
and it's not necessary that the government does that. Even local authorities, we've seen what the Mumbai mayor has done. She has taken the decision that any arrivals from these countries, they will simply be quarantined and then their samples will be collected and they will be put through genome sequencing.
Not only Mumbai, even Ahmedabad is going ahead in that direction.
Right.
Some of the cities in southern part of our country, they have also taken this stricter decision that all the travelers who are coming from the countries that are categorized as the high-risk country or the risk or high-risk countries primarily.
Yes.
That includes 14 to 16 countries. That includes China. That includes some of the European countries. That includes Botswana as well. That includes Belgium as well. So yes, these are some of the countries that has been classified by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So yes, various cities at the domestic level, we are witnessing that the state authorities are ensuring that proper testing, tracking can be done as far as this virus is concerned. And of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also clearly mentioned this point that genome sequencing, that should be done and proper lab testing or the genome sequencing should be done so that we can understand the character and the behavior of the virus very well, the way we could understand the Delta virus. As of now, India's lab infrastructure is very much in place, and as of now also, genome sequencing has started taking place. And it was a part of the genome sequencing is part of the testing of the government of India's testing drive is concerned. So yes, genome sequencing is the need of the hour so that we can understand the character and the behavior of the virus. Because as of now, when we talk about the behavior of Omicron virus, very little data is available. Even in African countries or in European countries, very little data is available as compared to other viruses like Delta or the other form of the mutations. So yes, genome sequencing, that's number one. Number two, people should ensure COVID appropriate behavior, COVID appropriate protocols. That includes mask, wearing of masks, social distancing, to avoid social gatherings primarily. And we are witnessing that various, as of now, the school that was supposed to reopen, they're also taking a stance that now schools should not be open till further notice. So various states have come forward, various local administration have taken this decision that schools will not be opening up now going forward. So yes, a lot of state governments are now in front foot, and we can witness that the center and state are working in coordination as far as fight against COVID-19 is concerned. India has had this experience of fighting against the Delta variant primarily that we witnessed in the month of March and April in 2021. This experience will be very much helpful if in case the Omicron reoccur or primarily comes to India, if Omicron virus is found in India. So the virus which we fought in 2021 in the month of March and April, the experience will be very much helpful. And in that context, proper healthcare infrastructure, that is what the focus area of the government is. That includes the oxygen supplies, the oxygen capacities primarily, ICU beds primarily,
yes,
and better healthcare infrastructure. And last but not the least, social distancing and of course all the social measure, the COVID protocol behavior that needs to be followed. That's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi again and again reiterating this point.
Yes, and this is a dynamic situation. We must remember that this variant has, it's just been a couple of days that this variant has emerged, and it's just been given a name, Omicron. And as and when we see the situation developing further, other steps could be taken, and these steps can be taken at any and all levels, starting from the local level at the administration level, local administration level, going up to the center. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Arun. All right. Meanwhile, with the administration of 73,58,017 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 121.06 crore landmark. 121 crore 6,58,262 vaccine doses have been administered across the country so far. And let's also take a look at the COVID-19 situation across the country as well. Now, according to the latest data by the Health Ministry, the recovery of 10,967 COVID patients in the last 24 hours has increased the cumulative tally of recovered patients to 3,39,88,797. India's recovery rate now stands at 98.34%, which is the highest since March 2020. Sustained and collaborative efforts by the centre and states and union territories continue the trend of less than 50,000 daily new COVID cases. 8,318 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The active caseload currently is at 1,07,019, which is the lowest in 541 days. Active cases presently constitute 0.31% of the country's total positive cases. Weekly positivity rate is at 0.88%, which is less than 1% for the last 13 days. The daily positivity rate is reported to be 0.86%, which is less than 2% for the last 54 days. Testing capacity across the country is also being expanded. India has so far conducted over 63.82 crore cumulative tests. And the government has allowed the resumption of scheduled commercial international passenger services with effect from the 15th of December 21, something which the PM has said officials should review. There will be a calibrated resumption of operations from the countries recognized as at risk by the Ministry of Health. The latest order says that the suspension of international commercial passenger services to and from India, which came in effect from the 23rd of March 2020, has been reviewed. The competent authority has decided to resume the commercial passenger services with effect from the 15th of December 2021. This would also imply reversion to bilaterally agreed capacity entitlements and termination of air bubble arrangements. Due to the prevailing condition of COVID-19, the capacity entitlements shall be according to the categories of countries based on enlistment of countries at risk. We will probably hear more from the government on this front as well, so we will watch that space, track it for you very closely. Now, Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Narendra Singh Tomar, has informed that the bill to repeal the Free Farm laws will be tabled in Parliament on the very first day of the winter session.
प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने गुरु नानक देव जी के प्रकाश पर्व के पुनीत अवसर पर इन तीनों कृषि कानूनों को रिपील करने की घोषणा की। प्रधानमंत्री जी की घोषणा के अनुरूप केंद्र सरकार की मंत्रिपरिषद ने इसे अपनी स्वीकृति प्रदान की है। संसद प्रारंभ के दिन तीनों कृषि कानून संसद में रिपील करने के लिए प्रस्तुत किए जाएंगे।
And the winter session of Parliament is beginning on Monday. Further, the Agriculture Minister also announced the constitution of a committee on issues of crop diversification, zero budget farming, making MSP system more transparent and effective. This committee will have representatives from the farmers' organizations as well.
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जीरो बजट खेती, क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन, एमएसपी को और प्रभावी, पारदर्शी बनाने जैसे विषयों पर विचार करने के लिए एक समिति बनाने की घोषणा की है। इस समिति में आंदोलनरत किसानों के प्रतिनिधि भी रहेंगे।
The minister also said that farmer organizations have demanded that farmers be absolved from punishment, that is any penal provisions as far as stubble burning is concerned.
संगठनों ने पराली जलाने पर किसानों पर क्रिमिनल ऑफेंस से उन्हें मुक्त किया जाए, यह मांग भी की थी। भारत सरकार ने इस मांग को भी मान लिया है।
Now, President Ramnath Kovind graced the concluding ceremony of the Constitution Day celebrations organized by the Supreme Court at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. Addressing the gathering, the President said that justice is strengthened if the three institutions of the state, that is, the judiciary, legislature and executive, are in harmony.
This is the critical fulcrum around which democracy revolves. It gets further strengthened if the three institutions of the state, the judiciary, the legislature and the executive, are in a harmonious existence. In the Constitution, each institution has its defined space within which it functions. Except for a brief phase of aberration, the journey of our republic has been glorious.
Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana said that the Indian judiciary is among the first institutions which switched to the online mode.
Necessity is the mother of all inventions. The pandemic demanded us to transform the way we approach various issues. It has forced us to develop certain good practices which will support us in the days to come, although at a terrible cost. The Indian judiciary is one of the first institutions to shift to the online mode. This has opened a world of opportunities and we have witnessed innumerable benefits arising out of it. For this, I must thank all my brothers and sister judges, particularly Brother Justice Kanvilkar, Chandrachud and Nageshwar Rao, who are the heads of various committees in the Supreme Court relating to technology, as well as the Chief Justice and the concerned judges of the High Court.
In his address, the Union Minister for Law and Justice, Kiren Rijiju, said that the government has allotted 9,000 crore rupees for developing basic infrastructure for the judiciary.
The government has already approved continuation of the centrally sponsored scheme for development of infrastructure facilities for the judiciary at a cost of 9,000 crores. The present government is sensitive to the needs of providing well-equipped judicial infrastructure to judiciary to facilitate administration of justice in a manner that allows easy and timely delivery of justice to all.
Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary will embark on a 5-day visit to Egypt to attend the Egypt Air Power Symposium and Egyptian Defence Exposition. The EDEX is scheduled to take place in Cairo from the 28th of November, which is tomorrow, till the 2nd of December. The Chief of Air Staff will also attend the Air Power Symposium at the invitation of Egyptian Air Force Commander and deliver the keynote address on strategic air intelligence in confronting new and non-organized threats on Sunday. I beg your pardon. The EDEX is fully supported by Egyptian armed forces and exposes the attending dignitaries to the latest technology, equipment and systems across land, sea and air through live demos and static displays. The visit of Chief of Air Staff is expected to bolster the ties with Egyptian armed forces. On the sidelines of the visit, the Chief of Air Staff would also be interacting with senior commanders of other armed forces of the world during the expo. Now, as pollutants continue to choke capital Delhi's air, the Department of Environment and Forests has issued an order banning entry of trucks in the national capital till the 30th of November. The order has come into force from today. However, CNG and electric trucks and those carrying essential commodities will only be provided entry into the capital. Furthermore, the order also says that schools and colleges in GNCTD areas shall remain open for the purpose of examinations and practicals. Delhi's overall air quality slipped to the very poor category, lowering visibility during wee hours today. Now, if we move southwards, then heavy rainfall continues to lash several parts of Tamil Nadu, causing waterlogging areas including Valuvar Kottam and T Nagar areas. Locals have been bracing up, placing sandbags outside their homes to avoid rainwater entering their homes. Heavy rainfall and gusty winds have uprooted trees in various parts of the state. Meanwhile, the Met Department has issued a red alert warning 15 districts of the state till Sunday. The Weather Department has also advised fishermen to avoid venturing out to Comorin area, Gulf of Mannar, along and off South Tamil Nadu coast and adjoining Southwest Bay of Bengal. Further rainfall is expected due to a low pressure area which is likely to be formed over South Andaman Sea on the 29th of November, which is Monday. Let me now take you across to my colleague and our correspondent in Chennai, Philip Matthew, joining us. Philip, what more can you tell us about the situation? How bad is it right now? Because it seems that the weather is in no mood to ease up and it's piling on more and more misery every passing day.
Well, that's right, Gautam. In fact, this current spell began on Thursday, and we've had intermittently heavy showers in most parts of the state. In Chennai, for example, has been seeing rain for the last couple of days. Yes, there is a brief let-up at the moment, but the Met Office has forecast heavy to very heavy showers for the next 24 to 48 hours. So people are keeping their fingers crossed. Most low-lying parts of the state have been flooded. In Chennai alone, there are about at least 150 streets in the city that are currently underwater. Of course, efforts are underway to remove the water as early as possible. Jet pumps and other equipment are being used to remove the water as well as clear the clogged waterways to ensure that the water drains out as quickly as possible.
Right. And earlier the alert was orange and now it's red, which means that the forecast is worse than what it was earlier.
Absolutely. In fact, the weather system, there's a cyclonic circulation just off the Sri Lankan coast, which is responsible for this persistent heavy showers. And that cyclonic circulation hasn't moved a great deal in the last 24 hours. And that is what is accounting for a heavy spell of rain, especially in the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu, including Chennai. And in fact, we've, a place called Avadi on the outskirts of Chennai has reported around 20 centimeters of rain in the last 24 hours. So clearly, the heavy spells are all set to continue at least for the next 24 to 48 hours.
And it's taking a toll on human lives as well, apart from, on livestock and other pieces of property and otherwise as well. Just tell us about that and the kind of efforts that are being made to ensure that, further losses are not caused.
Well, as of now, according to official figures, at least 8 people have lost their lives in rain-related incidents in Tamil Nadu since the current spell began. And the official figures are that around 344 cattle have died, around 2,200 huts and 273 houses, concrete houses, have been damaged in the showers. A total of around 11,240 people have been accommodated in around 123 relief centers across the state. So this is where it stands at the moment. But if the rains continue, then of course there could be more. There could be a rise in the figures. But that is something we will get to know over the next couple of days.
And is this normal or is this unusual? Because there is, of course, a lot of concern about climate change. So is this excessive for this time of the year in that part of the country?
No, in fact, weather experts are unanimous that this is something that is completely unusual. In fact, they say Chennai, for example, is on course to break records that could, go back more than 100 years for the whole of the season. So it's something that weather experts are unanimous about. In fact, the current figures are that Tamil Nadu as a whole has received about 70% excess rainfall in comparison to the same period last year. So it's pretty clear that the rains have been very bountiful in this part of the country, and of course Tamil Nadu has always been known to suffer periods of drought as well as rainfall, but this time it looks as if the rain gods have smiled a little too excessively as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned.
Yes, a deluge in a very short span of time from a blessing it turns into a bit of a curse. Let's hope that things abate in the coming couple of days, although indications are that they will not. Thanks for joining us for the moment, Philip Matthew. Now, in Uttar Pradesh, the Bharatiya Janata Party organized booth programs for party workers for Kashi in Jaunpur. Addressing the ongoing 4th level booth program. Senior BJP leader and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said no one can stop the BJP from forming the government with a 3/4 majority in the upcoming assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh.
उत्तर प्रदेश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की 3 चौथाई बहुमत से सरकार में आने से दुनिया की कोई
And Rajnath Singh also said that under the leadership of Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, around 4.45 lakh crore rupees have been invested in the state so far.
पौने 5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का निवेश हुआ है, देशी और विदेशी, यहाँ पर उद्योग लगाने के लिए, यहाँ पर फैक्ट्रियां लगाने के लिए हुआ है। आज तक उत्तर प्रदेश के इतिहास में लाख करोड़ रुपए का कभी नहीं हुआ है। 4 वर्षों के अंदर हमारी सरकार ने, योगी जी की सरकार ने करके दिखा दिया है कि पौने 5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का निवेश।
And speaking on the occasion, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that there has not been a single incident of rioting in the state in the last 4 years of the BJP's governance, while corruption has been curbed and anarchy has been ended.
प्रदेश में अराजकता नहीं फैला पाए, बेईमानी और भ्रष्टाचार के रास्ते बंद हो गए, नौजवानों के साथ खिलवाड़ होना बंद हो गया, किसानों का शोषण बंद हुआ और बेटियों की सुरक्षा के साथ खिलवाड़ करने की जिस तमन्ना के साथ वे कार्य करने के लिए आए थे, जब ये बंद हुआ तो स्वाभाविक परेशानी आज उनकी दिख रही है, जब इस चिंता को महिमान्वित करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं।
Now, Prime Minister Modi will be inaugurating the 10th Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit on the 10th of January next year. Chief ministers of many states and senior dignitaries from other countries, union ministers, representatives of multilateral organizations and industrialists will be present on the occasion.
The vibrant economy of Gujarat has gained pace in the last 2 decades like never before. In order to give further impetus to this momentum, the 10th Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit is opening in January 2022 with the theme of Atmanirbhar Gujarat se Atmanirbhar Bharat. The summit was started in 2003 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi while he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. This resulted in Gujarat becoming the #1 state in the country in terms of achieving a dynamic, accountable as well as a vibrant economy in the last 2 decades. This time, more than 15 nations will participate in the 10th Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit in the state capital Gandhinagar. Being organized by the government of Gujarat, the Vibrant Gujarat Investors Summit will be held in Gandhinagar from 10th of January to 12th of January. Speaking at the curtain raiser event of the summit, Gujarat's Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel said that Gujarat is emerging as the favorite investment destination for the Indian businessmen as well as the stalwarts of industry across the world.
2021 માં ગુજરાતે દેશમાં સૌથી વધુ 21.9 બિલિયન $US એટલે કે 1.63 લાખ કરોડ જેટલું FDI મેળવ્યું હતું. સમગ્ર દેશે મેળવેલા FDI ના 37% જેટલું એકલા ગુજરાતે મેળવ્યું છે. રોડ, પોર્ટ, એરપોર્ટ, પાવર સહિતના રોકસ્ટર ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર निर्माण પર ગુજરાતે હંમેશા ભાર મૂક્યો છે, જેના લીધે 2018, 2019 અને 2021 એમ ત્રણેય વર્ષમાં લોજિસ્ટિક ઇઝ એક્રોસ ડિફરન્ટ સ્ટેટ ઇન્ડેક્સમાં ગુજરાત દેશના રાજ્યોમાં ટોપ ઉપર રહ્યું છે.
Apart from that, a road show ahead of the summit will be organized next month in the 6 big cities of India to attract Indian as well as global entrepreneurs. These cities are Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Lucknow, Hyderabad and Chennai. Road shows will also be organized in the United States, Germany, Britain, the Netherlands, France, Japan, United Arab Emirates and many other countries of the Middle East. This time, the focus of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit will be on encouraging and promoting small as well as medium enterprises.
2003 में जिस मुख्यमंत्री जी ने इसका प्रारंभ किया था, ऐसा कोई उदाहरण विश्व में नहीं होगा कि इसके 10वें एडिशन में वो स्टार्टिंग करने वाला देश का प्रधानमंत्री हो। ऐसा राजकीय माहौल, ऐसी स्टेबिलिटी के बीच में ये करने का आपको सौभाग्य मिला है।
इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट करने के लिए पिछले 20 साल से हुए प्रयास, ये प्रयास के नतीजे ये है कि आज गुजरात इंडिया का इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए बेस्ट डेस्टिनेशन बन के उभरा है। रेलवे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, पोर्ट कनेक्टिविटी है, वहां स्किल मैन पावर है, वहां ब्रेन पावर है, ये सब तो वहां है ही।
Gujarat plays an indispensable and pivotal role in strengthening the Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India initiative by taking the economy forward. This special focus is also on mega industrial infrastructure projects. Abhishek Singh's report, DD India.
Now, Prime Minister Modi will be sharing his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio tomorrow. This will be the 83rd episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan, AIR News website and News on Air mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR News, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. Now, Sports Minister Anurag Thakur today attended the Sansad Khel Spardha program at Bidaut in Uttar Pradesh's Bagpat. Addressing the event, he said that the Government of India is committed to promoting talent from rural areas. He said that more such events will be held in future to choose talented sports persons.
ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में हुनर को ढूंढने भी आएंगे। ऐसी आयोजनों से देखेंगे कौन अच्छा खेलता है, उनको चुना जाएगा, परखा जाएगा, निखारा जाएगा और उनको तराश कर हीरा बनने के लायक बनाया जाएगा ताकि हिंदुस्तान का नाम रोशन करें। भविष्य के रवि दैया ऐसे ही दंगल से निकल कर आएंगे, इस बात का विश्वास भी मुझे पूरा है मेरे भाई।
Now, taking a jab at the opposition, the minister said that Akhilesh Yadav organizes riots while the BJP government organizes competitions.
अगर अपने खिलाड़ियों को आगे बढ़ने का अवसर दे रहे तो क्या बुराई है? अगर नशे से दूर रख रहे तो क्या बुराई है? अगर खेलों में आगे बढ़ने का मौका दे रहे तो क्या बुराई है? अरे अखिलेश यादव कहता है कि ये सांसद खेल महाकुंभ कराते हैं, सांसद खेल स्पर्धा कराते हैं। अरे अखिलेश भाई सुनो, तुम दंगे कराते हो, हम दंगल करवाते हैं मेरे भाइयों।
Well, today is National Organ Donation Day. Addressing an event to mark the occasion, Health Minister Mansukh Lal Mandavia asked people to come forward to donate organs. The minister said that there are only 3% registered organ donors in the country. Moreover, the lack of awareness is also stopping people from joining in this selfless drive. The Health Minister said that the main objective of the National Organ Donation Day is to spread awareness among people and to recognize the selfless efforts made towards mankind and re-establish our belief in humanity.
मैं देख रहा था किडनी की रिक्वायरमेंट, लीवर की रिक्वायरमेंट, कॉर्निया की रिक्वायरमेंट, जो हम डोनेट कर रहे हैं और हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट ये दोनों के बीच में बहुत अंतर है, बहुत गैप है। हम 2-3% मैक्सिमम 3% रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरी कर सकते हैं। हमें उसमें और अवेयरनेस लाके इस दिशा में काम करने की आवश्यकता है और एक काम को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए इस काम के साथ जुड़े हुए लोगों को प्रोत्साहित करने का आज अवसर है।
Well, today is the birth anniversary of G.V. Mavalankar, the first Speaker of the Lok Sabha. A freedom fighter, Mavalankar was well known as Dada Sahib. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Rajya Sabha's Deputy Chairperson Harivansh, Leader of Opposition in the Rajya Sabha Mallikarjun Kharge, Members of Parliament and several other dignitaries paid floral tributes to the first Speaker of the lower house in the Central Hall of Parliament House on his birth anniversary today. Now, India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. In today's episode, we will remember a great freedom fighter and first Lok Sabha Speaker Ganesh Mavlankar, who was born on the 27th of November 1888. We'll also remember renowned Hindi poet Harivansh Rai Bachchan, who was born on the 27th of November 1907.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter and first Speaker of Lok Sabha, Ganesh Mavlankar, who was born on 27th of November 1888. As Speaker of the first Lok Sabha of a newborn nation, Mavlankar's role was not merely that of a moderator and facilitator of its proceedings, but of a statesman and a founding father invested with the responsibility to establish rules, procedures, conventions and customs that suited the ethos of India.
Born in Baroda, Gujarat, Mavlankar was a lawyer by profession and also took keen interest in social work, which brought him in contact with eminent national leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Mahatma Gandhi. He played an active role in the freedom movement in Gujarat and was imprisoned several times and spent nearly 6 years in jail.
Mavlankar dedicated himself to the affairs of Ahmedabad municipality for nearly 2 decades and was elected to the then Bombay Legislative Assembly representing the city of Ahmedabad in 1937. He was elected to preside over the Central Legislative Assembly in 1946.
Mavlankar was elected to the office of Speaker of the Constituent Assembly Legislative on the 17th of November 1947. And with the adoption of the Constitution of Free India on the 26th of November 1949, Mavlankar became the Speaker of the Provisional Parliament and continued to occupy the office of the Speaker till the first Lok Sabha was constituted in 1952.
During this time, Mavlankar ensured that all the rules, practices, procedures and conventions necessary for the smooth functioning of a representative parliament in the country were put in place before the elections to the first Lok Sabha were completed in the country in 1951-52. No one was therefore surprised when Mavlankar was chosen as the Speaker of the first Lok Sabha of independent India on 15th of May 1952.
During his tenure as a Speaker of Lok Sabha, Mavlankar introduced several new rules and procedures and also modified the existing ones to suit the new conditions. On his initiative, the question hour became a regular and meaningful feature of parliamentary sessions. Devices like short notice questions and half-an-hour discussions were introduced to make the government truly accountable to the Parliament.
The discussion on President's address on a motion of thanks was started by him to ensure independence and supremacy of Parliament in the system of government. Mavlankar envisioned an independent Secretariat of Parliament directly under the control of the presiding officer.
Mavlankar's speakership was cut short abruptly by his untimely death on the 27th of February 1956 in Ahmedabad. Through 5 decades of selfless service, Ganesh Vasudev Mavlankar has left a deep imprint of his personality on the office of the Speaker and on the Parliament of India. We salute this great Indian.
Today, we also remember renowned Hindi poet Harivansh Rai Bachchan, who was born on 27th of November 1907.
अलग पथु बतुला के सब पर मैं ये बतुलाता हूँ राह पकड़ तू एक चला चल पा जाएंगे राम
Father of legendary actor Amitabh Bachchan, Harivansh Rai grew up during a time when India was striving for its freedom against British imperialism and was influenced by the Gandhian philosophy of non-violence. Let us remember him through his poem Azadi Ke Geet, dedicated to India's independence on 15th of August 1947.
हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल, चांदी सोने हीरे मोती से सस्ती गुड़ियां, इनसे आतंकित करने की बीत गई घड़ियां, इनसे सज-धज बैठा करते जो हैं कठपुतले, हमने तोड़ अभी फेंकी हैं बेड़ी हथकड़ियां, परंपरागत पुरखों की हमने जागृत की फिर से, उठा शीश पर रखा हमने हिम किरीट उज्जवल, हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल, चांदी सोने हीरे मोती से सजवा छाते, जो अपने सिर धरवाते थे वे अब हैं शर्माते, फूल कली बरसाने वाली टूट गई दुनिया, फूल कली बरसाने वाली टूट गई दुनिया, वज्रों के वाहन अंबर में निर्भय गहराते, इंदिरा युद्ध भी एक बार जो हिम्मत से उठे, छत्र हमारा निर्मित करते 60 कोटि करतल, हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल, हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल।
Now, the WHO in a statement has said that there are a number of studies underway and the Technical Advisory Group on SARS-CoV-2 virus evolution will continue to evaluate the new variant of concern, which is Omicron. It further said the WHO will communicate new findings with member states and to the public as needed. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization's chief scientist Soumya Swaminathan in a tweet has said that countries are asked to step up genomic surveillance and upload data to GISAID, which is the global initiative on sharing all influenza data, undertake epidemiological, clinical and lab studies on variant and implement proven public health measures. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has said the new COVID-19 virus variant, which is Omicron, has a large number of mutations, some of which are concerning. He's asked countries to speed up efforts to deliver on vaccine equity ASAP and protect the most vulnerable everywhere. Now, the discovery of the new coronavirus variant has triggered global alarm on Friday as countries rushed to suspend travel from southern Africa. The UK has banned flights from South Africa, while the EU seeks to stop air travel from South Africa over COVID variant. The Czech government announced a 30-day COVID state of emergency, while Israel too banned arrivals from most of Africa. Asian stocks dropped sharply over fears of the new virus variant. In fact, it's been said that here is now a mutation, a variant of serious concern, which is now driving the spike in numbers, but this is going to present a major challenge still have to be looked at following confirmation of new COVID-19 variant. EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen has said that the European Union aims to halt air travel from the southern African region amid rising concerns about new COVID-19 variant detected in South Africa. Now, moving further, the US has joined EU nations in restricting flights from southern Africa over the new COVID variant, which is Omicron. The US will bar entry to most travelers from 8 southern African countries starting Monday. Flights from South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique and Malawi would be blocked after a potentially more contagious new coronavirus variant was identified in South Africa.
I've decided that we're going to be cautious, make sure there's no travel to and from South Africa and 6 other countries in that region, and except for American citizens who are able to come back. But we don't know a lot about the variant except that it is a great concern. It seems to spread rapidly, and I've spent about a half hour this morning with my COVID team led by Dr. Fauci, and so that was the decision we made.
And Canada is also closing its borders to foreign travelers who have recently been to 7 southern African nations to help stop the spread of the newly identified variant of COVID-19. Canada Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos said that foreign citizens will be banned from Canada if they have been to the 7 nations in the last 14 days. 7 nations again are South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, Botswana, Eswatini, Zimbabwe and Mozambique. The United Arab Emirates has also suspended entry of travellers from South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Zimbabwe, Botswana and Mozambique starting the 29th of November, which is Monday. Rwanda will also reinstate a mandatory 24-hour quarantine for all visitors arriving from the 28th of November, which is Sunday. The Health Ministry has also called on all, including vaccinated people, to strictly practice COVID-19 preventive measures to limit the spread of the new variant of COVID-19. Meanwhile, South Africa has said that imposing travel restrictions on it because of a newly identified COVID-19 variant is unjustified. Health Minister Joe Phala told the media that South Africa is acting with transparency and travel bans are against the norms and standards of the World Health Organization. The Foreign Ministry of South Africa said that it would speak to Britain to try to get it to reconsider its ban, and President Cyril Ramaphosa will convene an advisory council on Sunday to consider evidence on the variant. Also, South Africa has been the country which has been worst affected in Africa in terms of total reported COVID-19 cases and deaths, with nearly 3 million infections and more than 89,000 deaths since the start of the pandemic. It had been experiencing a lull after a severe third wave of infections until last week, when new infections started to pick up, and some of them have now been credited to Omicron. Let's now take a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the rest of the world as well. Well, COVID-19 cases have swiftly soared across the world. So far, the world has registered over 26 crore 8 lakh cases of the disease, while the number of recoveries stand above 23 crore 56 lakh. More than 52 lakh 5,000 lives have been lost globally due to the pandemic. The US continues to remain the worst affected with COVID-19. The country has registered more than 4 crore 90 lakh cases of the disease, with the death toll surpassing 7 lakh 99,000. Meanwhile, European countries have again been witnessing a boom in COVID-19 cases, with the UK registering the highest number of cases in the continent. The country has more than 1 crore 70,000 cases of COVID-19, followed by France, that is over 75 lakh 51,000 cases. Germany trails behind France, registering more than 56 lakh 95,000 cases, while Italy has also been seeing a spike, where the number of cases stand above 49 lakh 82,000. The General Council of World Trade Organization has agreed late Friday to postpone the imminent ministerial conference after an outbreak of a particularly transmittable strain of COVID-19 virus that has led several governments to impose travel restrictions that would have prevented many ministers from reaching Geneva. The 12th Ministerial Conference, that's the MC12, was due to start on the 30th of November, which is Tuesday, and run until the 3rd of December. WTO members were unanimous in their support of the recommendations from the Director General and the General Council Chair, as they pledged to continue working to narrow their differences on key topics like the WTO's response to the pandemic and the negotiations to draft rules slashing harmful fisheries subsidies. This is the second time that the pandemic has forced a postponement of the 12th Ministerial Conference. The meeting was originally due to take place in June 2020 in Nur Sultan, Kazakhstan. Although the General Council decided to move the meeting to Geneva, Kazakhstan was chosen to chair the meeting, and the country's president, Kasim Jomart Tokayev, was due to give a keynote speech at the conference's opening ceremony on the 30th. The US, the UK and 5 other nations have reiterated grave concerns over reports of ongoing human rights violations and abuses by the Myanmar security forces across the country. In a joint statement, the governments of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Norway, South Korea, the UK and the US said more than 40,000 people are reported to have been displaced in Chin State and 11,000 in the Magwe region as a result of the recent violence. The countries said they are concerned about allegations of weapons stockpiling and attacks by the military including shelling and airstrikes, use of heavy weapons, and deployment of thousands of troops, accompanying what security forces assert are counter-terrorism operations which are disproportionately impacting civilians. The nation said that they will continue to work closely with ASEAN, the UN, and the wider international community to promote accountability and support a lasting resolution to the current crisis and a return to the path of democracy. Sports news now. And India bowled out New Zealand for 296 runs to take a 49-run first innings lead at Green Park Stadium in Kanpur. Akshat Patel was the best bowler for India on day 3 as he registered his 5th 5-wicket haul. Apart from Akshay, Ravichandran Ashwin picked up 3 wickets, while Ravindra Jadeja and Umesh Yadav got 1 wicket each against the Black Caps. Tom Latham top scored for New Zealand with his 95-run innings, and he added 151 runs with Will Young for the first wicket. India started their second innings on a poor note as they lost opener Shubman Gill early. He was dismissed by Kyle Jamieson for 1. And with this, Jamieson has become the fastest to 50 test wickets for New Zealand. Currently, India are batting on 14 for the loss of 1 wicket. On to badminton now. PV Sindhu's impressive campaign at the Indonesia Open Badminton Tournament came to an end. Sindhu went down in 3 games to former world champion Ratchanok Ithanon of Thailand in a hard-fought women's singles semi-final. She lost 21-15, 9-21 and 14-21 to world number 8 and second seeded Ratchanok in 54 minutes for her 3rd semi-final finish on the trot. The 26-year-old Sindhu had made it to the last 4 in Indonesia Masters last week and also at the French Open in October. And that's all we have for the moment in News Connect, but all the latest will continue right here on DD India. Do keep watching.
The changing world